pretty girl. To the pretty girl.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kenna and I'm a Cameroonian content creator. I'm based in Douala, Cameroon, and on this channel I do everything Cameroon. I talk about life in Cameroon, places in Cameroon, and everything about Cameroon. Here I also talk about trending topics and relevant topics. So as you can see, today I have a guest and she's a familiar face here. I'm sure if you have been following me from way back, you should know her. I'm not going to talk too much. I want her to introduce herself.
Hi, my name is CY. I'm a third timer on this channel. It's always good to be here talking with Kenna, the renowned Douala-based YouTuber.
Oh, my blush. Anyway, guys, so today we are going to be talking about, you want to introduce it?
All right. We're going to be talking today about our relationships as ladies, our relationships with the male figures in our lives. So the men in my life. If I was to shoot a movie, that would be the title. The men in my life.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about our relationship with our husbands, fathers, sons, brothers, friends. How is our relationship with these people
and how it has impacted your outlook on life as a lady?
Exactly. First of all, I like to give background on how our Cameroonian men are, I think African men, I think I can say African men are. What I notice when I look at all of them, except my son, because he's still my baby, I'm trying to make him not to to be exactly like the other male figures. But what I've noticed is that growing up as Africans, they try as much as possible to bring us up and bring our men up as providers. End of story. So they are growing up just learning, I'm supposed to be the provider. I'm not necessarily supposed to do anything at home. I'm not necessarily supposed to think about emotions and things like that. I'm just supposed to be here as the head and learn, go to school, study, get a job, get a wife. Like that is how they bring up a lot of men. I feel this base is what affects a lot of the men in our life.
Men, as you said, the x-ray or the mirror outwardly what they were taught specifically by their mothers.
Exactly.
Because obviously we are saying the same thing. The fathers didn't really go any length because they just provided. So anything that they know or do not know is from their mothers. So how are they doing now that they are men? We're talking about boys in those days. So how are they doing now that they are men? Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we should go one by one by one. So I don't know, should we start with father, husband?
Okay, let's start with father because that's the first man.
First man in life.
That's the first man that we know. Okay, we were 7 children to my father, and we
were just 3.
3 in Africa. 3. Okay. We were 7 children. We lost 1 in 2002, my older brother. So thank you. So we became 6. My father, growing up, I think my father was my super idol at that time. One of the reasons is that we grew up in a small community where I was born, Ekondo Titi, and my father and mother were government teachers at that time. Were transferred to this, should I call it village or town, and my family, I would say, was highly looked up to at that time, respected at that time, and my father too, by implication, was my super idol. Sincerely speaking, he poured a lot into me as a child. He would even though we were many at home, because we were living at that time, you know how African families are, aunties and uncles were many of us, and even though he had many children, I could still single out my relationship with my father, as in he would teach me French, the French that I know now is thanks to my father. He would take us out to important places, teach us important things, and he was an English teacher, so that's Bill, French and English. So he I think he impacted a lot in me educationally, socially, and morally growing up as a child, right up to when I left off to boarding school. What about you?
My father, growing up, I was daddy's girl. Anybody will tell you that. My father, Kenna, I was daddy's girl, though I had an elder sister. No, I was the daddy's girl. So just like you, I would say my dad was always there. He was really present. I can remember my dad even used to do things like bathe me when I was young, and those memories stuck there. He would always take us out, he bathe me. He was really present, I would say so, especially for the first years of my life, from let me say 1 to like 10. My dad was really present, always there. Even though a lot of the things, like when it comes to morals, I cannot really remember. I can't say my father did not teach me anything. No, I can't really remember. I'll remember more from like my mom who tell me don't do this, don't do that. My dad as well was a teacher before he became a pedagogic inspector. So my dad was a teacher. He loved teaching. So he would teach us a lot of things about everyday life and all that. It was a good relationship. But then growing up, as you're growing older, the relationship is I don't know how to explain
That's
it,
the
but
point. It's
the
not getting
relationship
strained.
gets strained. It's not like I was stubborn or you were stubborn or anything, but the relationship strains because I feel like you start getting your own mind and you're like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and your father cannot just understand because from how he has been taught, normally the father is the head, he's supposed to tell you what to do. So sometimes that's what causes all the strain and all that. So by the time I was getting to 12, 13, my relationship with my dad was just strange. It was just like, okay, the head, this, I could not go to him if I have anything to say. If I I could not talk to him. Not like I would talk to my mom as well, but the relationship with my dad, that is how it has been till now. At least now, as I'm older, I can even reach out to him if I have an issue. I can even reach out to him and talk to him. But from like 10 to this my 30, like 30, 32, 33, no, I really did not have a relationship like that. He was present. Yes, he's always there. There's nothing that I've had from my kids' birth to birthdays and all that. When he was in Cameroon, my dad is always present. But that emotional part, the emotional support, not really. He would just, like when I give birth, he would just call me before I gave birth. He just called me, encouraged me. No, you can do this. Other women have done it. Like that's the most emotional support I think I've had. Other than that, he's there. He's really present. But
Okay, if I'm being honest, I told Kenna that there's two things. It's either I tell the truth or I stay quiet. I will not lie. If I'm being honest, my parents' separation when I was teen, it dealt a big blow on the emotional relationship with my dad. From then, I could even say my dad was like my uncle as far as relationship is concerned, because he was not there emotionally and otherwise, and then at a certain point he was not there physically. So the dad-daughter relationship, I wouldn't say it existed or it impacted
I
me.
also forgot to talk about the financial part. If there's one thing, I always say till today, I don't know how to ask people for things because my father, he was the perfect provider. Like you don't have to ask him for anything. He's always there. Yes, he knows this is the beginning of the week. I have to give you a transportation to go to school. This is the end of, like he always knew what to do. No, you never really had to remind him unless, how can I put it? Unless it's something like, oh, you go to school and then you need a handout and then you come and tell him. But everything he knew, he had to pay your school fees. He knew what he had to do and he did it.
Oh, Pakuma.
Your flowers. I know.
Yeah, as I said, my relationship with my dad was strained, and in the later part of my life, I wouldn't say that we had much to interact about. We had much to talk about. It was much less of just a birth certificate kind of relationship. End of story.
Right. Sorry. I'm sorry. Why am I laughing? It's because she's laughing, guys. Not because I'm laughing at her. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Should we move to the next?
Yes.
Okay. So that is it about our relationship with our fathers. Moving on now to the second man in our life, our husbands.
Didn't you know your brother before your father? Anyway,
No,
by order of importance.
Yes, by
the
order of
second man in
importance.
our lives, our husband.
Imagine you have my brothers to fight me. Okay.
Okay, I'll go first. I knew a man when I was 23. I was so young. And in hindsight, I was asked the question that, why you merely say they drive fast? Now wait to marry.
As I remember when we heard Sita was married, we're like, are you sure? Maybe it's just gossip. We're not sure.
I know, right? Everything was just. Well, that's because, anyway, it's a long story. And that's because I was to relocate. Yeah, I had my end goal that if we were to start a family, if us to be together, if we were to get married in South Africa. So, it just happened so fast. But then, I didn't really have a glimpse of, we're never prepared enough for marriage. You can prepare from now to next year, but you're still going to see a lot of novelties, new things in the marriage.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the first years, I was still in awe if I'm truly someone's wife. I'm supposed to be my mother's baby. The last time I remember, I was my mother's baby. So I don't understand what's happening. And then that same first year, 10 months after, I had a baby. So I'm thinking, how did I live from my mother's baby to this independent girl working my own money, now to somebody's wife in a new country, having to change a lot of things about my life. There was a lot of culture shock when I moved. sometimes it took me a while for me to get my wedding band on, because I'm like, nah, I'm not sure. Am I really? And then when I would go somewhere, it'll be like, Mrs. This. I'm like, if I'm joking, Mrs. Who?
Even up to now, I'm still like, please, it's a big name. That name is too heavy.
I know, right? When they call me Madam, I'm like,
No.
if you know me, you know I don't like Madam. Just call me Siwa. Let's go, please.
I know.
So it took a toll on me. It took me a couple of years to get used to the fact that I'm someone's wife. But slowly, I think my husband was an absolute sweetheart at the beginning. He made things easy for me. He made things the transition easier. I was writing about transition. By the way, I have a blog, and I'll let Kenna put my blog address on the screen so that you go read. So I was writing a blog about the transitions that people go through in marriage, and for me, he made that easy for me. So he kind of cemented our relationship at the beginning. But when cares of life began to hit us, where do we go? How do we pay for this? Child A, child B. It kind of strained things a lot. It kind of strained things a lot to an extent that sometimes I just want to be by myself. I just want to be me. If I'm being honest, I just don't want to. Nobody should identify me about anything. I just want to be myself. Leave me alone. I just want to be Siwa again. What's this thing about wife? And then
Possible.
it's really not possible. And then consequently, mother. So I would say it was easier and better at the beginning than now. I hope that it gets better again, because I think that the curve should balance very soon. Yeah.
I don't know where to start. That's what she's been talking since. I'm just I always tell my husband that I feel like I'm married to my father. My husband, you have just 5 years difference, but my husband is he's not acting his age. He's acting like, I'm not trying to insult him before somebody comes here and says I'm trying to insult my husband. I'm just trying to make people to understand how he acts. So he's like a deep, real African traditional man. I don't know how. That's the best way I can explain it.
Most of them are.
Yeah, so he's not really like that emotional. I'm always like, I wish you could be more emotional with the kids. I see him trying. Sometimes when he'll see me saying things like, I love you to the kids, come and hug me, I see him trying to do those things. But for that particular part, he's not, and it doesn't end only with the kids. Even with me, he's just like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm sure you understand. It's
how they were all brought up.
It's how they were brought up. So he finds it really hard to like show emotions. For the provider part, obviously that one he's like my father. Exactly. He knows what he's supposed to do and all that. But when it comes to the emotional part, it's hard. It's really hard. I'm constantly talking to him about it. Why don't you can you not just come and hug me? It's almost like, wow, typical mommy and papa. Mommy and papa. Yes.
Those days,
yes, that's how he is. Like, he's not. So I'm just like, okay, because of this, I'm going to ensure that my son is not like this. I see him trying, but it's not him. It's, when it's not how you were brought up and all that, it's not really him. So he really struggles with that. But we're trying one day at a time. That's all I can say. Hoping that it gets better.
Yeah, that's it.
When it comes to brothers, for me, my brothers. If I start gushing now, I'll just tear up, because my brothers I feel like those are the men in my life that I cannot complain in any way. My brothers are always there for me. They don't want to see me stressed. They don't want to see me hurt. Even if we're struggling, we try to hold each other, bring each other up. We're always there for each other. So for that one, I feel like my relationship with my brothers, though my junior brother, he's kind of MIA, but we understand that that's how he is. When it's time to show up, when it's important, you see him showing up, but he's always in his own corner. So most of the times people will feel like maybe we're just 3 of us in the house, maybe we're 4 of us, because my junior brother is always in his own space. But when it's time to show up, my siblings, all of them, my brothers, sisters, they know how to show up. And I feel like that's something that my mother and father taught us. We always turn up for each other.
So Kevin is that sweet. That's seriously.
That's my sweetest. My sweetest brother. He's always there. Like, he's dependable. I know that if I need something to be done, any of my brothers, they know that I need this thing to be done. They'll be there for me.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, I had 2 brothers. Lost one 22 years ago, I think so. 2002 to now. Yeah, it's 22 years ago. So I was quite young then. So I didn't form any relationship with him, if I'm being honest. He was in boarding school. He only came up for holidays, and we look at him like this. Oh, this one that's gone to CPC Bali.
I know.
And he's back. I was getting to Form 1 when he passed away. We didn't quite bond. Yeah. The age gap between us is 2 of my siblings, so he was quite some years older than me.
I'm not surprised. I've always thought that you're the firstborn. You give me firstborn vibes, like you're the first.
That's
when you told me that my elder brother, I was like, I was surprised. Give me first, but oh, but this you're the first girl.
Nope. I'm
She
sure.
gave me first ball vibes.
I'm almost the last. In fact, my mother had me and she was like, Danke Yahweh, Kesimbo.
I'm surprised, honestly.
And then
Give me first ball
she
vibes.
was hit with twins after 4 years. Yeah, no, certainly not. I have older ones, and after me is 2 girls who are twins.
Okay.
So now I have only Marvin Archer as an older brother, and we lastly saw in 2014.
It's abroad.
Yep.
Aye.
We lastly saw each other in 2014. I went abroad in 2014 and he was in Cameroon. And before I came back in 2017, he had
Yeah.
left for the US in 2016. And since he's been in the US, he hasn't come back home. So I haven't seen him. He hasn't even seen my kids. We just talk about
It's for me, I don't know. I was kind of estranged from my sister. The age gap, I don't know. We never really.
yeah.
But when she traveled abroad, it became closer.
all right.
Yes, it became closer.
But let's talk about before he traveled.
Okay.
I think being an introvert for me did not start now. It started way earlier. Somebody would think that I'm that.
I don't think so.
I
At
know.
all.
When I said last time, people were thinking that. So even in my mom's house, I did not quite. My brother were not that close. Yeah, because first of all, he was always on the go. Piap, piap, piap. He's gone this way. Piap, piap. And then he's the one who brought us to Christ. So he was what I would call a church boy. Always at church. Always at church. Piam, he's gone for youth program. Piam, he's gone here. Piam, he's gone here. He was not really born. And at that time, since he's the only boy, he'll come back, probably he's feeling like a king, Odogu. And then he'll just come back and fling this one here, fling this one here, fling this one.
Are you
Doesn't
participating
do
after
anything.
him?
Yes.
Ah.
And me, I don't like that kind of person. Whether you are my spiritual father around me or you're my whoever, once you are that kind of person that we need to clean after you, you just off me. That's one thing that I cannot take with somebody. So for that aspect, we're very close because I do not like this behavior of his. Yeah, the fact that he would just come in and go back out and then just be very spontaneous. I don't remember if there was ever a time where we sat and had a proper conversation like that. As he grows older now, he's more considerate.
Yeah.
So he went over to the US and he took some time to settle in, and then after that he got married, and that
I know.
I feel like this thing that we're managing now that just come and spoil. But plot twist is married to one sweet girl that I think I've snatched her from him.
His sister.
Yes, so I've snatched her from him, and I think I can talk better with her than him. He still we still remain those siblings on the extreme, but his wife has kind of bridged the gap. But I remember at one point I told him that I don't tell you my stuff because you don't have my time. Na person wey comot hand so wey go show you hand no.
Yeah.
Don't have my time. Myself, I don't know what to say to you because
Mind your business.
yes, I really want us to be brother and sister, but I don't even know how to start now. The blocks have been molded and they are now hard. So I don't know how to penetrate. I don't know how to do better in this relationship.
What about him and your other siblings? Is still the same relationship with them, or that at least there are some other siblings who are closer to him?
My sisters, I wouldn't generalize, but I think that because it's in the US, my older sister in the US, they're quite close because at least they have each
Yeah.
other. They have each other. And he's somebody who doesn't like to share his challenges too, and just like me too.
There are people like
Yes, so but he's quite closer to my sister in the US than me. But I was telling my sister in the US that I don't know if our brother behaves to you the way he does me, because he doesn't really make the things. He hears that things have happened to me, wouldn't ask yes A B C, wouldn't ask. I don't know whether it's because he forgets or he needs to be reminded or what, but that's a trend I've seen in the last couple of years. So I've just decided to stay put and hope that it gets better. But I remember last month he was really interested, so what about, I know that I'm going through some challenges right now, so he was trying to be interested. So I think that it gets better. And now he knows that he's my dad, so
yeah.
he's the only guy that I have now from my family side, my home family.
Yeah.
So he has to stand up. Just like you, I have one son who is soft cement right now. I'm planning to carve it and shape it the way I want, and I'm constantly observing and praying, God help me. I don't want this boy to be an entitled African man. The one that will say, he's a woman sleep for front bed.
My son needs to make some statements like that, like only women do. I'm like, where did you hear that from? I beg you. It's not in this house. Everybody is equal.
I know.
There's nothing about men. He comes and he's like, I'm the man of. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You be the man of your own house. We are wife. In this house, there's no man of the house. Everybody is equal.
Yes. And even when you get to be the man of your own house, you don't need to rub it in people's faces.
Exactly.
I'm
You're not trying to climb on people's heads.
You already know. So yes, so I'm trying to now break down that African mentality. It's a toxic one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to eradicate it from him. Henry, take your plate inside. If my big daughter wants to take the plate, leave it there. Let him come and take it inside. Pick up this, pick up. And it takes patience too, because they are boys. They want to fling it off and
I
go
know. Oh my
go
God.
play. But it takes patience to know that, okay, you need to call him back to order. I was excited the other day when my husband said, Henry, pick up the broom, go sweep. I don't want you I don't want him to be an African man who only come and ask for food.
I know.
I cannot do anything around the house. I was impressed. I was like, coming from your father, I think
Exactly. That's
a good point.
That's nice.
Yeah.
When it comes to the emotional part, when it comes
Yep.
to
Mhm.
like chores and I know I want him to be that person. If I send him anywhere, he can stay, he can live on his own, he'll be able to feed himself, clean his space,
Yep.
take care of himself without thinking, oh, let me go and look for a girlfriend so that she can come and do this. Or let
Not too dependable.
Yes, I want him to be his own person, and it's not easy because I don't know whether it's just my son, but boys, he doesn't like chores. He doesn't even want to as much as bathe himself. It's a struggle for me to teach him how to do that. Fold his things. My daughters can fold better than him. He
Yep.
doesn't just want to do it when I'm not looking. He'll just wrap it like this and throw. So it's a conscious effort. I'm trying to break that. I don't want the no, I'm an African
A
man.
bit of
I
the
go to-
status quo, yeah.
I feel like, and I feel like that's something that we all as mothers
Yes.
now we have to try to do, because every mother, almost all the mothers I know, have the same complaint of it's either, oh, my husband is not doing this, my father never did this for me. And I'm making my son to also know that it's okay to be emotional, it's okay to cry, it's okay to
It's okay to be vulnerable.
okay to be vulnerable, basically, because a lot of men cannot cry. No, men don't cry. You have to be strong. I have a friend of mine who told me he can never cry, no matter what happens. He will hold it in, and I'm like, but you're human. If you feel like crying, cry, because that cry always relieves people. I know how I feel when I cry and I stop crying. I feel very relieved. So imagine somebody always holding in the tears. Maybe some of these men are badly behaved like that because they cannot even show their emotions.
Yeah.
And they're just hardened. So I make him to feel okay. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to ask for hugs. Because there was a time when my girls would come and hug me, and he's like, you're always like, no, he doesn't do this. But right now, you see him, he's getting softer. He's asking for hugs, coming to kiss me, good morning, and things like that. So yeah, that's just it when it comes to my son.
As a wrap up about sonship, sonship in Jesus.
I know.
I met a guy who said, I go me also, I never married my gender, they wait me for washam. I get plenty clothes for washam, my gender. Then somebody was like, make her married. I'm like, for real, make her buy washing machine, make her married. Excuse me. So yeah,
Carry a mate. It's annoying, and it's sad. It's really sad that that's how we think.
So mothers asking us, so we really have a responsibility to teach our sons that, okay, no woman is coming to your life to take over to just adopt you like this from your mother, and then she'll be dealing with her mother-in-law's baby boy.
I know. No, it's not happening.
Yes, teach our sons right now as they are tender that they can do as much as the girls can do. In fact, there's nothing like gender roles as far as children are concerned. What A can do, B can do equally.
Yeah, let's talk about uncle. For me, I don't have a relationship like that with my uncle. Not that we have any problem, but I've always been closer to my aunts. My mother had 5 sisters, so I was close to my aunts. My father as well had a lot of sisters. He had brothers, but most of them had passed on by the time I was born and all that. So I really did not have a close relationship with them. But my mom had 2 brothers, one passed on, and she has 1 brother now who's alive. He lives in Yaoundé. I don't have a relationship with him. I'm not going to come here and lie. I don't have a relationship with him. We meet mostly at family events. If there's something happens, yes, we meet. But any other relationship like that, no. For my father, his brother, he passed on, I think when I was pregnant with Monique, he passed on then. He was always present. He was always coming to the house. He would come for visits, come for holidays. But that's it. I never had like an extra relationship with my uncles where you're like, I'm going for holidays, so I'm going to, no. So when it comes to uncles, really not.
Okay. My dad didn't have any living brother by the time I knew that my name is CY. His brother had passed away. I think he only had 1, if I'm not mistaken. My mom had 2. 1 passed away in 2016. But before he did, he and the present one now, in fact, my uncle's name is Henry. My son was named after my uncle. That's to tell you the impact that he has created in our lives. By the time when my mother was struggling emotionally and in other aspects of life because of a challenge that she went through. My uncles were there for her and they covered up for us. Looking at it, I was saying that I don't know how my mom made it to take us through boarding school. At one point, we were 4 of us in boarding school, and that's not cheap.
I know.
Yes, with my mother's government school salary, I don't think that would have covered for anything. But my uncle stood up for us at that time. My mother's brothers were always, I would say, they took her, if there were any struggles that she faced, they would seize her behind the scenes and tidy up everything and then bring her back to us as that able, capable mother. It's only after I grew up to a certain age that I understood that all of these doings was not my mother alone. It was her brothers with her sisters. Since we're not talking about aunties now,
Yes.
uncles. My uncles did a lot and are still doing a lot right now in my life. The only uncle that I have as an uncle is my uncle Henry in South Africa, and he's doing great for himself. Truly, if God is blessing that man now, it's because of how much he has impacted our lives and the lives of all of the sisters, all of the children of his other sisters.
Okay.
But we really do not have a relationship right now because it's me. It's not anybody else. It's me. It's me that is just locked up. It's me that is just by myself. I don't even want to mix. I don't even video calls even just annoy me sometimes. Just text me and let's do this thing.
The last one I want to talk about is friends. I know some people will be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, married women. Are you talking about friends?" But I have great friends, but you first of all, you talk
Right.
as male friends as you're married now.
My only GGG. My only male friend. I hope I haven't forgotten what I said. So I thought we were friends. And then they're not calling my name.
any names.
Yeah. My only friend that I remember that we're very close when we were in school is, I will just call his nickname is Westy. He's right now in Canada. Sometimes we grind again. Sometimes we bring back old shit and
I
we
know.
grind. But it's over the phone. I don't have any physical relationship with any male friends. I've not made any in recent times. Yeah.
For me, yes, most of my friends, they're not in Cameroon, but they come once in a while. And I feel like I don't even know how to explain this. They are really, I think it's a part that I need in my life. Those male friends, because there are certain things that if I explain to my girls, they don't understand.
Okay.
But when I talk to my male friends, I'm always happy because they give me a male perspective on things, and it helps me a lot. So yeah, once in a while I reach out to them, we just talk, laugh, and that's it. So
Basically, what we are saying here, or the question we're throwing back at you, is how has your relationship, or how have your relationship with the male figures, the men in your life, how does it reflect in the woman that you are today? Is it good or is it bad? It's not too late. You can change things as far as it depends on you. Don't want to do more than yourself.
exactly.
And if you have a baby boy, a son, you have the opportunity to imbibe in that young man the values that he needs to make a gentleman in life, so that he will be a not perfect, but he will be an exemplary father, husband, son, uncle, and brother.
Okay, guys, that is it for today's video. You know how this goes. Please come and tell me what you think in the comment section. What are your thoughts? Let's talk more. And yes, we're going to see you later.
See you on my next video with
Bye.